It's one of the Beauty Rest Dreamscape series. You can see it was a thick Euro top. Has a double spring unit on the inside. Very plush bed, and it just totally wore out on top. Top panel shifted and body impressed like crazy. Within the quilt itself, fiber layer, and then a very soft piece of flat polyfoam, very little resiliency, and then a convoluted piece right here, pretty deep valley, not much there again, not much give to it, all three taken together, very soft feel, but recipe for body impressioning. That top layer was actually interflanged and stapled, you can see the staples right here, into the little pieces of foam right here that are in the bottom part of this Euro top. This is actually a harder polyfoam, 2 layers of a harder polyfoam. Now these 2 layers were glued together, but the big problem is these layers not glued at all, they're just lying in very loosely in this top pillow top panel, and hence how they can just shift and move all over the place. And these layers of foam right here are only hard around the edge. You can sort of see a seam right there where they're glued together, and then it's a very soft foam on the inside. Again, just recipe for body impressions. Then it was a true pillow top. You have your inner panel layer right here, and then there's just one piece of foam. And again, this is it's a very soft, not a real dense polyfoam right here, and that the inner flange was actually stapled to this instead of the inner spring unit itself. Then your spring unit just has a non-woven fiber barrier on top, not very strong barrier at that, and it's your double spring unit, so you have your border rod, border rod, border rod on the bottom. Then there's a piece of again, not a very dense foam for the base underneath, not a real hard foam. The double spring unit, you can sort of see how these already sort of change orientation. Some are bulging out. They're clipped at the top and the bottom to the border rod, on the top and the bottom right here. In between the two is just this thin fiber pad layer, nothing really hard, really firm, against which to push and to provide a firm base. And on the inside you can see a little bit how just it's inherent in the design. Marshall coils do shift, change orientation over time. It just happens. And they don't have, there's not a lot of a structural integrity there because they're just glued together. You can see how the border layer on this one is actually, these two that are heavier duty, thicker steel, have pulled apart, softer on the inside, a lot more give with the white ones right there. But again, edge support, no foam encasement. It's just this V-shaped spring right here that's just stapled to the border rod, more on the corner. And then the next one is about a third of the way down the bed there. So they probably have like 6 of these along the sides. This is an Olympic Queen, which we know didn't last very long in the industry. But overall, the product, it's just a recipe for body impressions. Very heavy bed. There's a lot of metal on the inside here, but this just doesn't keep its shape very well. And putting 2 small Marshall springs on top of each other just allows more movement and more play and less structural integrity within the product. And then going with very soft foams on top, very soft, in the middle of the pillow top, and then this piece right here, just a softer, not a super dense foam. It's going to do exactly what it did, and then not gluing down the deep layers. You can just see how the padding just falls away. And this was the problem with this bed, and that's the problem with beds like this.